Larissa, and then your name?
Shin.
Shin? Okay, perfect. Anybody else?
The
Okay,
one's
perfect.
outside.
So we have any presenters? And your name?
Hey, Jody.
Okay, good. Three presenters.
Alright.
Well,
There should
three
be
presenters.
I think
I'm judge, we're judging together.
So actually, I found the lines that create you. According to what.
Yeah.
I'm in the judge box. Or you can shoot for.
Yeah.
So you can.
Sarah, and then Manohar, yeah.
You're the one that's been sent out.
Okay, so.
I'm the.
Alright, this is my work uniform.
I'm just gonna do this.
Computer science.
Yes.
You can just cross one. You can close that.
This is yours, right?
That's mine, but I'm not going first.
Okay, okay. Just making sure.
I'm just gonna quickly check which presenters are here. So Harmonpreet is here. Excellent. Ravni. Did you get a chance to check if your PowerPoint is here? Might want to take a look. And Sharpie.
And what's your name?
Is Sharpie here? And Shim
And then is it?
in the new chat. Larissa. So when she's done, then you can go and see if your presentation.
Okay, this one, all right. And who's next? Who's presenting? Our question.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I will go to the other room.
Closer, guys, closer.
Oh.
We're going to start in 2 minutes. Oh, my heart.
I'm so sorry. You don't know the sauce.
Yes, and
There's more making sure that we don't see that I have some stickers from Love. Is that okay? Can you guys see? It's just we can see better in the basket.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Alright.
So what the administration just keeps doing is into the system, either, I don't. Yeah. No.
Okay, that makes sense. you so much. But what's
If they have a read through Korean and all almost Should we just?
I think we should get started.
Okay, we're gonna get started. So first thing is first. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I could put her out. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Is everybody? Kind of, sort of. Okay.
Do you still wanna see these, but you can go to a live stream, because this is for you.
No,
There's some two more seats. Coming in.
Okay, we have to start.
Yeah, we need to start, so we have enough time for everybody. Hey, so good afternoon, everybody. So first thing is first, make sure your phone is on silent, right? So we respect the presenters. So welcome to this panel. My name is Ginny. I'm the Dean of the English Language Center here at Columbia College, and I'm very honored to be here to introduce you a panel of wonderful, wonderful student presenters that you'll be hearing from today. And our topic today is Consider It Solved, Leveraging Technology for a Brighter Future. Okay, now I would also like to introduce you to our judges sitting in the back. So Sarah Lenore, she's our political science instructor, and she's also the main organizer for this event. And Yvonne Yang, she's our computer science instructor here. So please give them a round of applause. So before we get started, I just want to remind the presenters that you will each have 10 minutes, and I will be timing you, and that will include the time you come up here to set up and so on and take questions. So you might want to consider leaving a few minutes at the end in that 10-minute time frame to take some questions from the audience. Okay, and without further ado, we're going to get started. So the first person that we're going to hear from is Harmopreet Kaur Dhaliwal, and her topic is, Does Computer Work? Okay, please welcome her.
So hi everyone, my name is Harmopreet Kaur. This is my first semester in Columbia College. Being a computer science student, today I'm gonna tell you how does a computer work. So first of all, as we all know, computers are found everywhere, not only the desktop computers. We see computers everywhere. Like you might have phones in your hands, that is a type of computer. Apple watches or kiosks in restaurants or anywhere we can see computers. These are not only the desktop computers, but the question is how it works. It works on a very simple and interesting logic, and it has the ability to produce the output within seconds. So I already told you there are different computers, not only desktop computers, like the Apple watches, etc. So what is a computer? A computer is something that can accept input and it can produce output. And it contains a microprocessor, which is inside the CPU. And these are the types of modern day computers. So what does a computer contain? It can take input, store information, start processing, and give the output. For example, let's say a girl named Rose, she's in class 5th. She's a very intelligent girl. What she does is she can solve the problem of any student. So every student gives the problem to the girl in the form of letterbox at her home. They place the letters in the letterbox. The girl, what she does is she takes all the letters and starts answering the other friends' questions one by one systematically. So she puts all those letters on the desk one by one. She starts solving all the problems. So what she does is she's doing systematically. This is the work of computers. Computers just work systematically one by one. But the thing is, humans cannot do every work very efficiently, very fastly as a computer does. Computers have the ability to do work within seconds, milliseconds even. So is it simple? Computers do this work very easily, very simple. But the thing is, first I want to ask you, why do you use computer? Can anyone tell what is the main motive of computer?
To make every task easy.
Yeah, it makes every task easy.
It's fast.
Yeah, it's very fast. So it depends on person how we use computer. Like I use computers to make Word documents or presentations, and my brother use it for like playing video games, etc. And it depends on the situation. Like I'm using here for my education. At home, I'll do anything else for that work. So it doesn't depend. That it is specific. It depends on the situation and on person. So the software is the main thing that works that runs a computer. It is the collection of instructions to interact with computers. Computers are like useless without softwares. To even run a game on our mobile, we use software. So we cannot run anything without these softwares. Like if we want to browse something on internet, we need Internet Explorer, game software, or like calculators, even use softwares. So there are basically 4 types of software. You don't need to remember all. The main thing is programming software, which I'm learning nowadays. That is Python, C++, Java. The thing is, it is based on that language which computers can understand, and computers can decode it into the language we can understand. So this is the work of application software. Basically, there are 4 types, but the main is programming software and the application software. So these are all explained. So what is input? We can say something to computer to do something for us. It cannot be only in this form of keyboard. We can simply speak. We can type, or we can touch to do anything, to say anything to computers to do for us. So then, if we give input, what computers does is it takes memory and starts processing it, and it gives us the output. How it gives the output? It cannot only be in the form of desktop. It can be anything. It can be like playing, it could be text, photos, video games, even virtual reality, and even using robots. It depends on the type of infrastructure we are using, how much expenses we are making on it. Like we can even run robots using, if we give the correct input. So how? Let's go back to the processing. How it processes? There are basically zeros and ones that are used in computers. Computer only understand these zeros and ones as binary codes. Basically, it starts from 1, 0, 2, 2 to the power 3, 2 to the power 4, like this. And 0 means it's false, there is no current flowing. 1 means the current is flowing, the circuit is true, and it is on. So if we say 0, we will neglect it, and we will only see 1. If we want to represent a number like 93. So 93 is close to 2 to the power what? 2 to the power this one, like 8. Then if we have 64, then we will neglect this, take 1, this one, and we will manually have to do it. But you do not need to remember, because computers can do it automatically. We cannot do this. So this is basically how a computer does. You do not need to worry about it. So we can, vice versa, we can create from binary code to the language computers can understand, and from the computers, the language computer understands to the language we can understand. So what we give input, computers decodes into binary codes, and it gives the output that we can understand. So it goes like this. It goes to the CPU and then to the us. So this is what I told you on one is what it is on and true and yes, and 0 is off, false, and no. And to display images, what we do is there are very small pixels we see to represent a picture. There are even for videos we have 3 trillion plus pixels. Computers combine to show the picture which displays the specific color. If you want to see this picture, computer will combine all those pixels that we want to see as our desired output. So similarly, sound. We know sound creates vibrations. When any audio is played, computers will convert it into a specific codes which computers can understand, and will convert it to the language we will understand. So this is what computers does. It is done in the CPU, which is the main processing unit. It calculates information, contains circuits. Other circuits include sending and receiving information. Information is executed in sequence, one after another. So if I type H on keyboard, what computers will do is they will convert H into binary codes. It has specific codes of zeros and ones, and it will then convert zeros and ones to the language that we will understand and will produce the output. So in the end, I would say that it is very important to know about computers because computers are very important today. This 21st century, technology is getting sophisticated day by day. Running with time is very important. So even scientists are making humanoid robots. Can you tell me about one humanoid robot? Yeah, that's right. So in future, in 20 years, we will have seen exponential increase in computing power and capabilities. Artificial intelligence will be more. It will be everyday part. We will see robots communicating with us. Even today we have robots, but not to that extent. We'll be communicating with robots. They will be sitting with us. I expect that in 20 years, technology will be so much advanced. So to know how it works, we must know that how computers do this work, how they interpret information, how they convert codes into binary codes, and then show us that we can understand to that language. So this is how computers work. Thank you.
Do you want to take any questions?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Do you have any questions for me? Any questions? Yeah.
You said you're a computer science student.
Yeah.
What made you want to pick computer science?
Sorry,
What made you want to pick computer science?
I want to become a software developer or application, as I told, that software that makes applications. So I'm interested in that. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Now we're going to see our second presenter, Ravi Kaur Sidhu.
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ravneet and I'm going to present on the topic, human rights, are they supported or suppressed by technological advancement? So in order to understand the relation between humans and technology, we first need to understand what technology does to the human society. So the two basic approaches can be dystopian approach or the utopian approach. So according to the dystopian approach or the technological dystopia, it is believed that in the future, technology will deteriorate the human living conditions, and it will devaluize all the human values and result in a human society that is devoid of any social and cultural values. Whereas the second and the most contrasting approach to it is the utopian approach or technological utopia, under which it is believed that technology will usher in humanity an age of advancement and an age of perfection, where all the social values and all the cultural values will be perfect, and for example, the justice system will be the most perfect. So before I begin, I would like to introduce a few questions. So first question is, our bright future depends upon technology. How many of you agree with that? And here's the second question. Our bright future depends upon technology completely. So as we go through the presentation, I would like to highlight the differences between the question and how we can reach a better future. So here is a graph that shows the percentage of population that uses internet in these regions. And so as we observe the trends, almost 95% of population in North America is exposed to the internet usage. So do these trends in different countries, they have a relation to the overall development in the economy? So the first aspect of the presentation is, does the technology supplement human rights? And if it does, how does it do that? So first, while discussing how technology helps the human society, I would like to focus on internet, that is considered one of the most important technological breakthroughs. So internet helps in reducing the difficulties in distributing the information over time and space. With the help of networks, with the help of different social media platforms, we can distribute the information at a speed that was never before seen. Second is it increases the awareness about human rights. So in order to exercise our rights, we need to first be aware of what rights do we have and what are the institutions that are there to protect our rights and what all things can we do to exercise them well. So internet, as by providing the awareness to people, by exposing them to different sources of information, it gives them the capability to exercise their rights and fight for their rights as well. So the second is it provides people with a capacity to influence the thinking and understanding of others. So with the help of different technological breakthroughs, including the social media platforms and other institutions, people are able to express their viewpoints and express their thinking to other people so that they can view the situations from their perspective and they can consider that is their perspective a right one or do they have some misjudgments. And second is an individual can involve himself or herself in the process of information generation. So in the earlier times, the basic human rights were like right to having an access to water or housing, but at present, I think so that the most important right is being involved in the process of information generation. If a person can be involved in this process, then he can have an easy access to all of the rights as well. So it provides people a sense of recognition in the society that is also related to the social advantages of the internet, including all of the technological breakthroughs. So while using the different platforms, people can express themselves independent of the labels that define them on their physical characteristics in the whole daily life. So the second aspect is technology suppressing the human rights. While discussing then this aspect, I would like to highlight the institutions that lead the technological world and how these, in a way, suppress the human right implementation. So first of all is the flaw in the functioning of corporations that lead the technological industry. For example, there is a case in Google where around 20,000 employees in 2018, they protested against the sexual exploitation and the way in which it was treated in their organization. So I feel that if these organizations, they can implement the moral and humanist perspectives for their internal structure, I think so they can lead into a better society and better use of technology. So there is, as we say that social media and other technical platforms help us to express ourselves distinctively from our physical characteristics. In that process, the element of reality, it actually goes missing. So all the judgments that are based are based on superficial, or we can say the fake characteristics. So by considering both the aspects, that is completely opposing aspects, utopian and dystopian, how can we ensure that the balance between these two is correct? So first of all, we need to develop the laws that govern the advancements in the technology at the same pace at which technology is developing. Secondly, we need to make sure that the organizations that lead the industry, they are themselves following the rules and making others to follow that. And thirdly, we all need to be aware of what is going on and we need to cooperate in the process of implementation of the laws. And at the end, we need to realize that the situation is neither of absolute dystopia nor of absolute utopia, but it is a combination of both, and we need to put our efforts in order to provide a better future that includes a mix of both cases. Thank you. Any questions?
I have one question. So, don't you think that internet hinders young population's ability to express themselves and be their authentic selves?
Yeah, I think so. It has two sides. That is, it has two faces. For example, at one point, it helps us to establish our identity. But at the other point, like once it goes beyond a particular level, everything becomes superficial. So it is actually a combination or a balance of both.
You mentioned that the technology enhances the justice systems. Can you explain how does it enhance justice as a whole?
Okay, so it is, so technology enhancing the justice system is one of the parts, one of the aspects that technology on the whole enhances. For example, the consumer redressal, complaint redressal system. So earlier it was all in the physical world, but at present, like if you have any complaint, you can go on the site and mention your complaint, and they can, the feedback they provide is at a faster pace as compared to like if you go and physically complain.
Thank you for your presentation. I have a question. What do you think about the fact that for most of these big technology companies, their main goal is making profit rather than, like, they don't legally, they don't care about human rights, right? They care about giving money to their shareholders. So then we see things like workers producing iPhones being in such horrible labor conditions that they're committing suicide in large numbers, for example, like in Foxconn. So I'm curious about that. How do you see, is there a conflict that you can see about technology advancing human rights and these big technology companies, Apple, Google, etc., having profit as their main motive?
So while over the table is actually a combination of both, but I personally think so that profit is their basic motive, and in a way it is also justifiable because even only if they earn profit they can provide wages to the employees and they can contribute to the different projects, but at the same time they need to take care about the needs of the employees. They need to recognize their requirements and make their processes keeping in mind that.
Do you think that social platforms like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube have a moral responsibility and a legal responsibility to regulate hate speech and violence that it actually goes against people's human rights? So should companies be proactively regulating and censoring social platforms to stop hate speech?
Yeah, that too has its limits because what is considered a hate speech by one group can be actually normal by the other. So it actually depends. Maybe I think so for that, moral groups should be formed on the platforms, internal groups as well as some groups from the external society that can like evaluate whatever positive and negative impacts it has and can frame the work cycle. Any other questions?
One question. So there's so many issues, and which issue actually you feel is the most urgent issue that you have to face and to resolve?
So
together we talk about these things.
So I think so the most important issue is again the social media platforms and how they are influencing our lives. Yeah, because if we we are trying to indulge in the social life through the social media, but I think so there should be a distinction between that. The social media has its own importance and advantages, but at the same time, the real conversation has its importances. So I think so both should be valued at their own places.
Great, thank
Thank
you.
I have Shem Jalini Beniza to come.
Yeah, sure.
Did I get that right? I tried.
Good try. And her topic is communicative technology and the illusion of human connection.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming here today. As you can tell, I'm going to be talking about communicative technology and its impacts on our everyday human relations. So to start, I'm going to ask a question. Who here remembers the first time they got their phone? Raise your hands up if you do. Okay, great. It's good to know that everyone has great memory. I remember the first time I got my phone, and it was really exciting. I felt super cool being one of the big girls, and and as a teenage girl, having a phone was really important, and because I realized it was a source of connection, and I was no longer bound by space and time. But so much has changed since then, especially in how we connect to others. My little sister, who's 14 by the way, simultaneously texts like 20 other friends compared to the 2 I texted back then individually. While it may seem cool, I realized that she has a set of problems in her relational life that are different to mine back then, and possibly even more complex. And I realized it may be due to the use of technology. And it kind of makes sense. We can do so much more with technology right now, and it's right at our fingertips. It makes you wonder, with technology developing, is it directly correlated to the declining quality of our relationships? Well, no, but it does cause some problems in a relational life. But how? And that's what we'll be exploring today. So as I've mentioned before, we can do so much with technology, with communicative technology. It can help us develop our cognitive skills, complete tasks, most if not all at the comfort of our home, and entertainment, etc., etc. If you want to go shopping, there's an app for that. If you want to learn Spanish, there's an app for that. If you're watching a movie in the theater and you're trying to find the best time to pee so you won't miss the good parts, there's an app for that. Run Pee, free information. So the internet in particular, it's the best way for people to spend time for each. Well, not the best way, but some people say that they spend time with their family. 47% of them. And it makes sense. There's many bases for conversation through the internet, and even chances for social experimentation. Another thing, gaming. So many friendships are formed through gaming, and some parents actually even use gaming to bond with their children. However, it's these same opportunities that prevent us from being completely immersed in solitude, let alone with others. Research shows as many as 92% of Americans have felt ignored because their partner is on their mobile device. There's even a term created to describe this phenomenon, and it's called phubbing. Has anyone heard of it? No? It's kind of recent, actually. And has anyone experienced it, or perhaps done it themselves? I'm guilty. And it's not nice. It's not a nice feeling to be ignored by someone because they seem more interested in their phone rather than in you. But can we really blame ourselves? Can we really blame ourselves? It might not be intentional. It might be because of technology allowing us to bring work with us wherever we go. And nowadays, it's increasingly more difficult to control the impulse to check our inbox because we're worried that we might miss out on something that's urgent that might need our attention. But the thing is, we need offline time. Even if we aren't with someone, we need solitude. And it provides us a chance to engage in deep, meaningful thought, which in turn can help us engage with others and build deep, meaningful relationships. But how can we do that if we look past those who are physically present and onto virtual others? But we wanted this, right? Over the decades, the process of industrialization and urbanization has increased at an even faster rate, and technology was designed to keep up with the acceleration that is prevalent in contemporary society. So yeah, whenever I complain about doing a project or anything and finding sources, my parents pull a classic back in my day and how they would spend hours in the library looking for something. Whereas for us, all we have to do is search a few things on the search bar and there'll be millions of results to look from. And it's a great time for us. It's a great time for students. We've got many resources. However, when we prioritize getting things done in a fast and efficient manner, can we apply this mentality to our relationships? Technology promises smooth and efficient productivity, but can we apply this? To our lives? To our relationships. So there's some research done, and some people have different attitudes to it. They were confused as to whether technology was the best way to confront our friends, to end relationships, or share milestones. For example, if you have a sibling that got engaged recently and she posted it on Facebook, is it appropriate even before she lets you or any of your family members know? It gets the job done, but isn't it a little insensitive? Doesn't real relationship require time and effort? It makes us wonder, can we turn to technology to be more efficient in our private lives? And it makes us also wonder, what is a friend in this context? So yeah, anytime, any place connectivity allows us to build or maintain our network globally, especially those who are shy offline, especially those who feel marginalized or being marginalized. The internet is the best way for them to make friends and join millions of online communities. And for those who have friends or family overseas, they're able to keep in touch because of technology. However, it also allows us to engineer intimacy. Using our anytime, anyplace connectivity lets us communicate when we wish and disengage at will. Even the term friendship is quite ambiguous in offline relationships. However, with technology, the technical necessity of labeling connections in online relationships enhances this ambiguity. For example, with Facebook, if someone sends you a friend request and you accept it, does it automatically mean you're friends? Or if you have Snapchat, some may view these temporary exchanges as something superficial, while others may think, oh, it's quite nice and thoughtful of someone to send a snapshot of their day, no matter how mundane it may be. Ambiguity can be quite conflicting, which can cause anxiety and misunderstanding in individuals. As a result, people prefer texting over calling because that gives them ample time to respond and control how people perceive them. Because conversation in real time has many unpredictable factors. However, with increased control over our intimacy, we have rid ourselves of opportunities to experience unexpected encounters and events that come with life. With friendship being so vague, some people have come to accept superficial relationships, assuming and underestimating our capability to delve deep into ourselves and onto others. So our world is constantly changing, hopefully more for the better. Who knows what technology will be like 5, 10, 100 years from now? I'm not saying to get rid of technology altogether and that it's bad, but people struggled with connectedness prior to the advent of technology. Technology is ultimately used as a tool that can initiate, develop, and strengthen relationships, but also to distance them. What I want to bring focus to is the importance of reevaluating our perception, our actions, and how we approach technology in our relationships. Because I think at the end of the day, no matter how advanced our technology is, if we do not know the impacts of our use, we may create an illusion of connection and lose sight of what's real in our online and offline relationships. So, yeah. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
Maybe to like give a counterpoint, like what about refugees and displaced populations that rely on technology for connection with back home, with their family members? Like there are so many innovative ways that people who are in these gray areas of citizenship rely on their phones, and that's the only way they can have a sense of humanity, right? So here technology is like the only thing humanizing people when societies have failed them, right? Or what about people in long distance relationships, right? Like because of capitalism, we're all forced to live and work to live, right? So that might mean you're living on one coast of the country and your partner's living on the other coast, and technology is probably the only way that you can connect. So can you speak to some of the ways that technology is actually the most powerful way to connect with other human beings because we're becoming more and more isolated?
Yeah, and that's what I was bringing up, because we have lots of us are international students. We have people overseas that we need to connect to. I'm not saying that's a bad, technology is a bad thing, but, I guess with our mental health and everything, we have to watch how much it takes over us. And that's why it's important to implement some routines or implement time spent and organize the amount of time we use our technology.
One question?
Oh, is there time?
We can make time.
Okay. What do you think about those apps that are designed to, apps to make you not be on your phone, or parents have them to shut off all their children's phone at a certain time? Basically apps that are designed to reorient or to kind of privilege other kinds of engagement.
I think personally, because I've used it myself as a student, because I'm prone to procrastination, I think it's really helpful, and especially with kids. Parents actually have problem with this. Kids are really addicted to their phones and everything, and they'll cause tantrum. But I think those apps are really helpful, especially when you because it implements routine. It implements ways for you to control your impulse and everything. So I think those apps are really helpful, especially in this day and age, because we're still trying to adopt technology. We're still trying to figure out what it is, because it's developing and it's normal. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, we have Larissa Totero Dorian. And her topic is music to heal the world.
Hi guys. So I'm presenting about music, but more specifically, how does music help change the world for the better, right? Okay, so let's go. I got a few questions before I start, because I want to make sure that we all understand the huge impact of music, how it affects us, and how it shapes us as individuals. For example, Jody, what kind of music do you listen to? R&B? Great, I also listen to R&B. What kind of music do you listen to?
And folk.
Folk?
Yeah.
Great. So we all have a specific genre of music we identify ourselves in. For example, I listen to a lot of R&B and Afrobeat. So I have a few samples just to make you understand that there's a huge power in music, really huge power that shapes us and makes us feel good within ourselves. I hope it plays. So it's not playing. Okay, no worries. So, the major ways music impacts us, but then let's look at the greater scale. So, music can be used to portray very positive impacts on the world. So, one way music helps us is using music for charity and using music for activism. We are all familiar with We Are the World, right? We Are the World is a single, very famous single that was created in 1985, and it generated $63 million in sales. These $63 million in sales were used as funds to raise money to help Ethiopia. Ethiopia back then in 1985, 1984, and 1983 was stricken by hunger. People were dying, massive death. People dying of hunger, not being able to afford basic needs because there was like a huge drought happening in Ethiopia. Okay, so this song was created by Michael Jackson. Like Michael Jackson played a really huge role in writing, composing this song, and only 10% remained in the United States, and 90% of the funds were given to Ethiopia. Now let's think of music for activism. Are we all familiar with NWA? How many of you know NWA? You do, right? I would say that they really had a very creative way of sharing the message. Vulgar, but yet very engaging. We're all familiar with the title. I'm not gonna say it, but okay, whatever. It is what it is, right? Fuck the police. Okay, yes, we get it. It's vulgar, and it's not a really good way to teach young kids to behave or to talk in a nice way to adults, right? But the real meaning behind this song is to address racial segregation, police brutality. It's a form of creativity, like to express, like it's a form of expression. Because instead of using direct violence, they're using music to portray their anger, to show the world we're angry with what we're going through, right? It's not like we're okay, hey, let's go, we're gonna shoot the police, we're gonna like beat them up, but they're just using music to express themselves, right? And this really created awareness that it's time for us to stand up as young Black people to make sure that we fight for our needs, we fight for our rights. We cannot allow the police to stomp all over, to stand on us, to stand on our heads. I'm sorry. So NWA, I really love the way they use hip hop as a way of expression and basically tell the society that yes, we're going through harsh times, but we can stand up too. But not through violence, direct violence, but through hip hop. One more great reggae artist is Bob Marley. He wrote this very good song called Redemption Song. And in Redemption Song, he notes, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, none but ourselves can free our minds. Think about it, right? You'd rather do things when you have a free mind, a positive mind, right? When you're free to do what you want, you do good stuff. But if you feel like, oh, I'm shy, he's looking at me, I feel I'm choking up, I cannot breathe. When you have a free mind, you don't care about everything. You don't care about society, you do things your own way, right? You do things without caring about what other people are thinking about you, and you do great. Because if you think about what others are telling you, or like if you submit yourself to social pressures and biasness, you won't do it, you won't make it. But this is a really great quote. Think about it. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Line 14 to 15, if you want to check it out. It's a really great song. So that was Bob Marley. So there's really not much to say about music. You just have to live music, love it, do in its accordance. But as long as it's good music that doesn't have a lot of toxicity or bad words. I know it's hard today because artists usually release nonsense, right? We all agree with that. I mean, I'm in the street. Fuck y'all. I'm sorry. But I just want to show you how music shapes us in our speech, in what we do, in how we behave, in how we dress, right? Music really does shape us. So pick a good song, increase the volume, take a deep breath, and let your mind enjoy the song. Good music is good life. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, questions? Yes.
I have a question. So you mentioned a lot of ways, good ways that music influences us, but what about the other side of music, explicit lyrics, for example, and how it affects children?
Oh yeah, so as I mentioned before, there is explicit music. And the reason why I mentioned explicit lyrics, explicit songs, is because those explicit songs do shape us. But now imagine if artists could actually change or like shift their way of composing to something that is more positive and more impactful. But do you think it will like hugely change society, right? So that is what I meant. Music does really have a strong influence on us.
Thank you.
That's it. Any question? Yeah.
Yeah, so how do you think the music versus the song, actually the music could be just music purely without any words? The words is more important if you're...
I do personally believe that words are as important as the rhythm, if I should say, but the rhythm really doesn't affect the way we behave. Because we can listen to up-tempo music through, maybe if we're like doing some exercise, we're listening to up-tempo music. That's true, but without the words, without those motivational words, I don't think you'll do as well as in while you're exercising. So I do think songs without lyrics is meaningless. It has to have some, message behind.
But
Yes.
what about like dancers who like dance to like songs without words, but there's still meaning for them, and they can still turn it into beautiful expression. Right?
Oh, yeah, you make a good point. So it doesn't have to be just music in accordance to words, but music in accordance to also some movements is also great because there's still something being shared to the society, right? Something is still being proven, something is being shared. So words, dance moves, it still work. They both work well. More questions? Yes.
Do you believe that the music these days affect like a teen's development?
Oh yeah, I do. Definitely. I do believe that music does affect, like for us, it does affect the way we like socially or I don't know, socially interact or develop. Because for example, if we listen to music that has like deep dark words, I don't think you'll be a very a person who is extroverted. You'll be introverted, always in your corner, because you're listening to music that just drags you deep in your thoughts, and you just see dark in the world, right? You don't see positivity in the world because of the kind of songs you're listening to. So it does affect the way we develop, like in various ways.
I just wonder your opinion, because you said that music does help develop someone's identity. What do you think about someone who finds pleasure in listening to music that promotes killing people or killing themselves? Do you think, because of that, do you think music should really have no people should have music play it for free? Like should music have some restrictions? Like, should people have restrictions on like what kind of music they can release?
Okay, so as I said before, music is it's a free way of expression, right? So I cannot exactly say that there should be a limit. But if there's, because since it's a free way of expression, there's a very it's very hard to tell people, okay, your music is trash, you should change it, right? It's really hard because that's how they feel, so that is how they compose and that's what they release. But just imagine for a moment if such people could like change the way they compose or change their lyrics. I think the impact they will bring on the world will be far greater because it's free expression, so you cannot tell them, hey, stop. Right, it's free expression. You cannot tell them to stop.
Okay, quick question. Great job, Marissa.
Thank you.
So you mentioned the kind of like charitable impacts and activism, and also kind of personal impacts inherent in music. I'm just wondering if you see a difference between enjoying music through some kind of technology, like listening through speakers or earphones, or listening live. Do you see a difference? Do you have any preference?
That's a good question. So my perspective, I don't know about the rest of you, but if I listen to music live, for example, if I go to a concert and I'm with a bunch of people, it's great energy. Like the energy you have with those people, like you enjoy the music more because there's great energy. You're all together. You're all like forgetting the stress you have at school. You're forgetting all your troubles. So that is great energy, and you tend to enjoy the music more. But again, when you're your own and you plug in your earphones, which I know is not a good thing, but most of us do that. I don't know. It kind of drags you more to music. You feel more, you build a stronger relationship with the kind of music you listen to because it's just you. Nobody else is listening to the song you're listening to. Maybe you're the only person who likes it. So by using earphones, you feel more and more connection with that particular song you're listening to, right? If you feel me. So that's it.
Thank you.
Presenter. Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Ravi, okay, come on up. Did you want to use your phone?
Hi everyone, my name is Ravneet and today I'm going to present my topic PCLR. I guess everybody is familiar with PCLR, isn't it? Okay, so I'm just going to explain that and I'm also going to link that topic with the way you treat your children, the way they'll be in their future. Like if you treat your children in bad manner in their childhood, they may be criminals in future, maybe, not sure. So this is my abstract, and I just want to say that studies have proved that if you are treating your children in bad manner in their childhood, like you are abusing them, you are degrading them in front of their friends, they may turn out to be criminals and may commit some crimes in their adulthood. So first I'm gonna talk about PCLR. So you all know about psychopaths, right? Yeah. So PCLR is a checklist that is used to check the psychopaths. Like used to check that person is psychopath or not. It is a 20-point list. So these are the 20 points, and every point has a definition over here. But we are not going to focus on all the points. We are just going to focus only on one point, that is early behavioral problems. That includes lying at a young age, involving in theft, low grades in school, and etc. So we are just going to focus on one serial killer, Gary Ritchie, Green River Killer. So he was born in America and he killed 58 women with same manner and just raped them after killing them. So this is his famous documentary. I hope everybody has seen this.
Imagine the heartache that they were going through. We wanted to find him, and we wanted to find him alive. Unfortunately, most of the time, we were giving death notices.
So we can't see this whole documentary, but he killed a lot of women, and this process was continuing for like a lot of years. He killed women continuously for 10 or 12 years, and at the end, he was caught. So we are going to focus on his childhood and the parents, what was the role of his parents into his childhood. So his mother, she was a prostitute and she used to dress in a weird way in front of Gary. And this is because of like his mother, he had a really bad impact on his mind. And his father was also like he used to talk about necrophilia in front of his child. Necrophilia means having sexual intercourse with dead bodies. So like his father used to tell him the story of necrophilia, that how his co-workers like necrophilia, his co-workers like to have a sex with the dead bodies and other females. And his mother was also a prostitute, so she used to tell him the stories at very young age when he was just like a school-going kid. So at the very young age, he developed the idea of having sexual intercourse with women. He was too young in school, and he developed sexual fantasies in his mind just because of his parents. So they show that how important the parents are in the life of a child. Like parents can really mold the child into any shape. They can either do it in positive or negative manner. This is what happened in Gary's case. Also, his childhood was not too good. He was very poor in studies. He was average D student, and he used to pee at the bed even at the age of 15. And his mother was too bad. She used to she used to betray him in front of his young siblings, and like that really had a bad impact on Gary. So also he developed the animal killing at a very young age. So what the studies say that if your children, they are killing animals, they don't like animals, they may turn out to be criminals. So you need to devote more time to your children. You need to spend more time. You need to spend more time with your children. You need to build a relationship that they can share each and everything with you. You should have some time with your children so that they can tell you everything what happened in the school. Like Gary's mother, she didn't have a time, and also she didn't want Gary to come into this world before he was born, but he was born. and she used to betray him. She used to say that I'll put you in mentally retarded institution because you're so poor in studies. So like the parents are the only one who mold the child, who are the first teachers, so they should at least take care of them. So this is what studies say, that you should spend some time with your children, and otherwise they can be criminals in future. So that's everything. Do you have any questions?
I just wanted to say that being a sex worker doesn't mean you're gonna have corrupt children. I think it's like kind of problematic to say that just because that was her line of work, that her kid turned into a serial killer. I think that can be creating stigma around communities that are already vulnerable. That's just one point. And the other point is, so like this was a list of just psychopathic identities, and I like your connection between childhood abuse and crime. But I just want to be careful not to conflate that. Just a comment.
Yeah, I was just saying, because she is a prostitute, that doesn't mean her child will be like criminal in future, but it means what she was sharing with his children. Like she was used to say, I love sex with that person and all. Like she used to say these kind of things to his young child who is at like 7 or 6 age. Then maybe he's gonna develop. So this is not about that she's a prostitute and his child will be criminal. Any other question?
Yeah, you talked about parents being there, like, for their children so that they can share about their day and everything. But what about parents who actually, like, generally cannot be around because they work so many hours a week, they can't be with their kids? What happened?
There are other people who can take care of their children, like there are nannies who can take care of their children. So people usually take interviews during, like when they want some nanny for the children, they used to take interview, they used to meet that person. So it's their responsibility. They have to check that what kind of people they are getting for the care of their children.
So doesn't that create?
But this is what they should spend some time with their children. They should at least try to have at least 1 or 2 hours in a day. So can I ask you a question if you don't have any?
I have one.
Sure.
Some people say that psychopaths, they're kind of beneficial to society because in morally challenging situations, they make most pragmatic decisions, right? And it actually can lead to the greatest good for the greatest amount of people, right? So how do you think, is there any sense in that?
I don't have actually any answer for this question. This is what, like, I don't say anything about Gary Ritchie, or I don't say anything about any other person. This is what researchers say. Researchers say that Gary is a criminal just because of this PCLR. This is what PCLR say, and this is why Gary is criminal. And this is what the researchers also say, that children can be criminal just because of, they are just explaining everything on the basis of PCLR. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying anything. I don't say anything that children can be criminal or whatever. This is what researchers are saying, and I'm just presenting that. So maybe psychopaths can be beneficial, but in case of Gary, it doesn't prove. Yeah.
Sorry, I should have asked this earlier, but like, what does PCLR stand for?
It's Psychopathy Checklist Revised. Yeah. Any other questions? Can I ask now? Can you please open your phones and search Mentimeter.com? Mentimeter.com. Mentimeter. Mentimeter.com. Mentimeter. Mentimeter.com. And you have to type in this code.
Wait, how do you spell that?
This one. Oh, yes.
Oh, we can't see. It's like
Did you
ours is
go?
on blue.
Sure, I'll type it in Word.
Is there whiteboard marker maybe?
Sure.
Oh.
What is the code?
Code is 83. All good? After typing in the code, did you see this question? So this is basically for the teachers, maybe if you are married, but students can also answer this question. Like they can give their views, how many hours should parents spend with their children at least in one day? Teachers can answer how many they spend. Sure.
Yeah. Do you mean that the parents or like parents or like origin parents, like because it depends.
Pardon me?
Do you mean like the parents or the
Anybody. Because parents are parents. Anybody can spend time. We can't say male parents or females.
I think we might have to see the result later. So
Sure.
we're gonna have to wrap up and then perhaps she could share the result with you later on. So thank you everybody for being here. And I wanna thank our presenters, our judges for being here with us today. It was a wonderful hour we've spent together. So I would like to invite you to go to the ceremony at the end. Okay, it's starting in 5 minutes.
No, ceremony is canceled.
Oh, it's canceled?
Yeah, so it's better to not have so many people in one.
Right.
Yeah, but we're gonna release the award names on Monday via social media.
Okay.
So Instagram, you'll get the news.
Check your social media. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Before you guys go, just a check on the back of your.
Please leave the room so our judges can talk about the presentation. If you want to ask questions, you can do them outside. So please have your conversations outside because our judges needs to talk about the presentation. All right, so can I ask everybody to speak outside, please? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll talk to you.
It was great. So yeah, it's just. I'm on a free trial. Oh. It's very limited. It's very nice. So guys, we need to leave the room so the judge can speak about the presentation. Thank you. So you can ask questions outside. Thank you.
Do you have a balance on?
No, I don't have a panel. All I have is like this little stickers.
What do you think? You can actually like write it down that you just carry marks.
You can keep this one, then you can ask someone for the same, then you can just put it
Wait,
on.
this one, because I asked one of the other people.
I heard it's on the third floor.
Oh, I think.
Oh, today? Okay.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure either. Ask your classmates maybe where they got them.
I cannot spot anyone right now. Before I give it in writing, it's just like the hidden thing.
I think, well, why don't you speak with one of the people holding the camera? Yeah.
The balance.
Oh, student services on the second floor. Alright, okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. It's so nice, right?
I think that's it, yeah.
Oh,
Next.
So I said Bradley and then Larissa was second.
Yeah, okay, so
I think that's fair. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. Let's do that.
if she put on music video,
Okay,
I know.
so let me write this down and send it. I agree with Juan. Let's do it. We're done. Yay! So let's do.
It's like the first guy is
Bradley.
I really did not like this sign.
Robin is
Are you guys done?
Yeah.
Okay, can we set the room?
Yeah.
Perfect. How are you here?
Can I come in and?
They can come in and start.
Yeah, I can do whatever. Yay, thank you so much for all your help. I hope you had a good time.
और मावी नहीं अगर नहीं मावी ना करते शेरली ਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਐਦੀ ਵਾਰ ਤਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਤੇ ਜੁੜੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਚੱਕ ਇਹਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀਡੀਓ शेरली अभी ये सेटिंग करा और कल भी सेट The morning, yeah. So how much minutes go?